Guru Kripa Keval. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Guru Sri Muji Baba Ki Jai. Where should we start?
Don't forget about the mic, Father. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Adrian. We'll start at the end and end at the start. Yeah. Who has a question? Okay, that's cool. You can start. Yeah. Okay, first Zainab, then Kesha.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste.
I wanted to ask, did you think about sharing the audio recordings of satsangs?
I think I'm not so good at thinking, but
Yes, I know. But I wanted to bring it one more time. I would be happy if you can share them.
share them. So, some of you have shared your reports during the satsang times on Monday and Wednesday. And did you share them under the feeling that they won't be openly available, or is it okay to share? Or should we just pick and choose? Pick and choose. So Wednesday, for example, I would also love to share. There were some parts which were very nice. I felt so. We probably just pick and choose a bit and see. What do you all feel?
Out of the suffering.
Monday, Wednesday started off as being just us meeting like this and speaking. Then we started putting, there was some request to put some phones or video or whatever to those who felt like they really want to be in satsang. They felt like, can we join through WhatsApp video or through some way? Then we said, okay, we will do it on the Discord, because a lot of people are surrounded by phones, so that stopped making sense. So he said, we'll do Discord. Now, then we said, we'll do Zoom, might as well do Zoom because Discord audio was not so nice. And now we're saying whether should we just share? I don't mind sharing whatever comes from here, but I feel like the Sangha still somewhere operates on the presumption that we are sharing, like, close group in a sort of small Sangha sort of environment. So I'm not sure whether they're fully open to it being shared with everyone and to be stored there forever. So we'll take it step by step. So as we feel like on Wednesday, I don't know, maybe Naren had some reports. We can find out from those who had some personal sinning reports and take a call based on that. Mhm. You feel it will be really helpful? You feel it will be helpful to hear it again?
Yes, I believe it is. It is a joy to listen, and sometimes maybe some parts we miss.
Yes.
Even if we don't miss it, it is always a joy, and it's a deepening when we listen it again.
Okay. Thank you. Right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Good. Mhm. Kesha, you want to come? Sound is too soft? The sound okay for all of you or fine?
Sounds okay. Maybe you're just speaking softer.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Ooh. So I woke up this morning just with this strong urge that I just had to share this, and it's still not completely full and known. Hold on. All I see is myself, and it's distracting. Hold on. Okay, there you are. And
I felt like you're speaking Advaitically for a moment.
well, maybe. I don't know. So
Yeah, I woke up this morning and I could see is myself.
yes, that too is a little true as well. Yes, in a sense, yeah, I could say that. So I woke up this morning and it was just bear with me as I share this. I might need your help a little bit, but so I woke up and there was just this dread and sweating and shaking and hyperventilating. Just woke up like that. There was no narrative to it yet. And then the narrative came like a neon sign, and it said, you're losing your connection with Father, and Father's going. Like, you're not as close to him. And you go. So, and whether that has a resolution or not doesn't matter, but it motivated me to come up today and share with you the contemplation you gave me. And it's one of my Isaacs, as you know, and most of the Sangha knows it, because I share pretty openly about it. But it's like an attachment to you. And you asked me to ask, what does my attention mean to you? And at surface value, you know, the narrative came, and it came as, it means that I'm loved. It means that I'm closer to God. It's my connection to God. And all these narratives came, and then the opposite came after that. And it was not having the attention means disconnect from God. It means not being loved and all of that. But I didn't stop there, so I continued to inquire, you know. And then after that, what came was like just more simple labels, like needing to be seen, attention seeking, things like that. And then it didn't stop there. I kept with the inquiry, you know. And then I was shown, like, beyond all labels and narrative, what was happening in these moments of seeking attention from you was actually would happen when fear would arise, and then the grasping for you would come, and the attention would pacify the fear is what was happening. And but even that narrative aside, even just purely just basic energy, let's say there was like an activation of something and a pacifying of something, like an avoiding facing something, right? I don't know if this is true. I don't know if you're with me in this. I don't know if it's clear, but so just like this, it felt like death, no? It felt like the fear of death was arising when you wouldn't give me that attention or that reassurance, or like needing that hand to hold felt like actually just fear of facing the aloneness of myself. And maybe that's not even true, but this is how it's played. This is how it has played, in this way with you, and how it's manifested in this way. I don't know if it's true, but somehow it's seen like this, and maybe you can help me clear. Maybe I'm not seeing something as clear as I could, but just trying to see it without the narrative of, oh, I need Father, I'm attached to him, I need a hand to hold, and if he ignores me, then I'm just dying, I'd rather die. That's not the truth, that's just the words. There's something below that. There's something beyond that is the truth that's trying to be revealed, I think, Whew. I don't know. I'm sorry. It doesn't make. I don't know if I'm speaking clearly.
It's good. It's good. It's good. So that's exactly what I wanted you to contemplate, because obviously I was noticing a bit of that, and it's very good that you can expose it in front of the Sangha. So that the notion that attention from the worldly functioning of the master implies progress or spiritual growth is actually, we cannot conclude this kind of thing from that. And you notice that in many stories from the past, we've noticed how there are those who were never in the so-called attention field of so much of the master in a physical way, and yet they are the ones who became free and are sharing. So, so it really does not. So the mind produces this kind of idea that, okay, if Ananta is talking to you, or he's checking in on you or something like that, then you're making some progress and you're really coming close to finding God or something like that. But that is just not true. It is not at all like that. In fact, I feel like all of my children, all of you in some way are on a very unique roadmap, a very unique unfolding for this, and it will unfold differently for each of you. So sometimes, of course, I may share some things, I may distribute in some way where I feel like some will resonate to what appeared here or what I came across, and sometimes I don't. But I'm not really planning that. I'm not saying that this is how this one will go and this is how that one will go. If I get a particular sense to share something with someone, that's how it just ends up unfolding. So don't link it to any sort of progress. And in fact, this kind of attaching may be counterproductive in some sense. So there's a way in which you can say, I rely only on Father, and Father is taking care of everything. That is one way. But the other way is the idea that, oh, no, but he should write to me, he should tell me first, he should
Yeah.
get me involved and everything. That is not the kind of surrender that we are talking about, not the kind of devotion that we're
Yes.
talking about, isn't it? So
Yeah. But Father, can I clarify, like, okay, so with, it's not necessarily about spiritual progress. Maybe it is, and I'm just delusional about it, but it was more of like something was like coming alive with this. It was a block in a sense. Like when you had said that before, you said like, I don't remember your exact words, but you said something like there's like the attachment to you was blocking like me flowering in God, basically, and that was truly seeing like whether like spiritual progress or not, like maybe that's hidden in there somewhere, but it feels more of like pacifying something, like attaching to you was pacifying something that was coming up, and then when it wasn't given, when that pacifying was not there, it would come up even more strongly. And it needs to. I know it needs to because I know it needs to, but maybe it is about spiritual progress. I can't say, but yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, but yes, I have contemplated. I have contemplated. I do see what happens. In that sense, I see what's happening and playing. I do. I see the play of it without the narrative and the story behind it. I do. Your inquiry has allowed me to see what's playing, and it's very much keeping me alive. And so odd that it would play in that way and hide there, but I don't know. I just see it. I see it. So
how many fishes does a fishbowl need to have for us to exchange it with the ocean? How many fishes does a fishbowl need to have before we can exchange it for the ocean? Hmm?
If I understand,
Right.
it's a bowl, fish, we'll have water in it. And I want to,
So we'll make the exchange that we'll pick the fishbowl after it has how many beautiful fishes?
not even one.
You choose the fishbowl anyway.
No, so you don't need, I thought you meant to merge it, so you don't even need one.
Came out a bit strangely, I'm aware. So what you're saying is that it doesn't matter how many, because if it's full of the best, most unique, rare, beautiful fish, you would never make the choice to live in a fishbowl. So this is, although it's a strange metaphor, this is the real difference between trying to live in the mind's way and trying to live in reality. You see? Now we may have some ideas, if only I had this, and if only I had that, and if only I had this, I could make this work. What is the dread? Our dread is that something is not working. You see? Like Guruji says, this human thing just doesn't work. So our dread is that, what am I without that? And it can seem like too much of a risk. Then a perspective can be made where, okay, but it's not a human thing. because it's about a master. See? So if it's about a master, then it's no longer a human thing. It's very spiritual. It's very about truth. You see? But like you said in the beginning, that there's a fear that you're going away from me. But I'm going away from all of you, in the sense that how long is this one going to last? How long is this expression going to be here? So the fact is that the body of the master, and we are strangely talking about this in another context as well, that the body of the master has uh, much of a seeming embodiment, it may seem, is going to die, just like everything else dies in this world. You see? So it is a fact that whatever we may be attached to as Ananta as a form is not going to last. See? So given that that is true, you see, and given that something useful is there, you see, if something useful is there from his expression, as long as it stays in our perception, something useful is there. What is that usefulness? What is the usefulness of having a master? Is it that, oh, the master, okay, now he has become close to me, and then he's like close to me, and he listens to me, and I listen to him, and all of that happens, and then he's 65, 70, 75, whatever years old, and he dies. But he listened to me while he was alive. And he used to talk to me also while he was alive. Is that the usefulness of a master?
No.
But that is what the mind understands. The mind only
Yeah.
understands this kind of friendship, companionship, mastership, discipleship, father, daughter, whatever frames of references we may use. It doesn't matter what that frame of reference is, but it's very temporal. No? It's very
Yes.
ephemeral. So, but what is my real usefulness? See? And I feel like without trying to sound special or anything like that, I feel that by God's grace, discovery has happened here. And I feel like life without that discovery would have been pointless. You see? So when I see all of you, my children, I feel like I don't want you to live like that before I was living in that way, which I've been calling a zombie sort of life. You see? So my usefulness is way beyond what any construct or any mind can tell us, that, oh, this is what is going to happen if you're close to the master and you're in touch with him or something like that.
Yes.
So because what I found is beyond life and death, beyond birth and death. You see? Now the thing is that if we could have it both ways, then we could be attached to things which are in time and also live in the timeless. You see? Also do that. But that is just not possible. And I want to tell all of you that none of you will be the first one to accomplish that. No matter how hard you try, you're not going to be the first one to accomplish that, which means that be attached to something in the world and also be with God. You see, it is just not going to happen. And our mind's tactic, in fact, the whole persona of the spiritual seeker is that. You see, yeah, attached and also God. You see? It's not that the world must disappear. Remember, I'm saying attached. I'm not saying that this should vanish or cannot be tasted. All of this can be tasted. All the movements which are natural in this functioning can also happen. But if you're going to close your fist, then the openness that is needed to live in God's light just cannot happen. It just cannot happen.
Yes.
So to put it simply, anything which is special, individual, personal, that needs mental understanding, which has judgment and interpretation and comparison and all of these things, you see, will get us more and more attached in this world, more and more caught up in our concepts rather than free. So that is the source of the question. So when I asked you, uh, if you had my attention, what does that mean for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the contemplation that we're sharing. So if you
Yes.
did have my attention, what does that actually mean?
Like, so when I see it, like what that actually means is like basically just like a magnified ego.
Exactly. So just to
In a sense.
just to share in some way, it is saying that, like, what does anything mean that has its basis in the world?
Can you rephrase? Can you rephrase that?
In the sense that what is the meaning of anything which is perceived? You see? And what is the way to determine the meaning of that?
Like just in pure perception? You mean in pure perception?
Yes, in pure perception, is there something like that kind of meaning anyway?
No, it's just no, not in pure perception. No,
And does that mean that this is absent of intelligence?
no, not at all.
So uh, this is the main point. No?
Yeah, I see that.
Now, what happens when you're not attached?
Just it's just there's no there's just a
Is there like is it like a robotic way to live?
not at all.
In fact, looking at the lives of the sages, you notice that they are living much more beautiful and fruitful lives, although they're not attached to anything at all. So the mind's philosophy is upside down. It's really upside down. Now, is there anything missing in terms of what you need to have, the tools you need to have, the pointers you need to have, the attention you need to have, that enables you to find God? Is there something missing in that?
There's nothing missing. There is not.
Is it? And this is my question for all of you. That is there anything missing in terms of the guidance that you're receiving, in terms of the pointers that are available to you, in terms of the insights which are shared with you? Anything that is not enough coming from here, which enables you to really, provisionally I'll use the term, undertake this journey from head to heart?
No. You've provided everything. It's just
And
laziness and stubbornness here, maybe.
okay, but we don't have to, there's empty is good. We don't have to judge yourself or anything like that. So if all the tools are with you, the pointers are with you, then when the mind offers up various other problems that you need to solve, like, why doesn't Father give me attention? You see, do you think that is helpful, or that is just going to become a distraction?
Total distraction. I see that.
Isn't it? So
Yeah.
So I want to bring you to a point from initially where we may say something has to come to resolution and then we can become empty. to a point where you can say, oh, I spot this is mind and I am empty of it. You see, if you look at most in the world, they are struggling with the notion that this is my particular problem. My marriage is a problem. My kids are a problem. My money is a problem. My health of my body is a problem. My work is a problem. Everything is a problem. And I will rest at peace only once I've come to a resolution of that. How many have you met that have come to a resolution of everything? Even if outwardly they claim to be very peaceful, you feel like, this is good. You see, they seem to be quite free from all of this. If you spend some time with them, you realize that a lot of things which may be festering inside them, which they're not allowing to come onto the surface, which actually may be even counterproductive. So it is not through the process of resolution, but the process of surrendering it, to letting it go to God's light, which is very, very difficult for the ego, but it is the most effortless way to live. So if you're walking from Bangalore to Mysore, how many times you have to cross Sri Lanka? All of you. You don't have to cross. The pointing is available to you. The physical presence in satsang is available to you. So what happens is that the mind has a very absurd job. Its absurd job is to try and convince you that something is more valuable than God. And with the master, that's a very tricky sort of situation. It's a very tricky sort of situation, because you may say, oh, but master is also embodiment of God, like that. But you can smell it on yourself. When it is coming as just a devotion, which means that it is for the Sadguru presence which is within yourself, and maybe a lot of reverence for the form of the master in front of you. But you can get a sense when it is not really about the Guru Tattva, the presence, the holiness inside you, but more about like a judgment, like an interpretation about what something means. And then how it flows with anyone is impossible for us to predict. It's impossible for me to predict. Now, there could be somebody sitting in this satsang saying, when I asked Father the same question last time, he just told me to stop it. No? He just told me to stop it, or it's just your mind, get over yourself, something like that. And when Kesha is asking, then she's getting so much attention and so much explanation and things like that. So if we fall into that game, that is never ending. Like, why does this one get like this treatment, and why does this one get this treatment? Like, we cannot really put our finger on it. Which doesn't mean that you cannot offer feedback and things like that. It only means that I can honestly tell you, I don't know why I'm explaining things in so much detail to you, and maybe the next one that comes will get just a chop. And you see, so they may say, but look at that, this is partiality. This is not fair. We are also as children. You see. It's these things, you see, in terms of how that functions. But if you're clear, because it's a very big statement, no? you're clear that everything you need to find God has been made available to you. Everything that you need to find God and to live in God has been made available to you. What could be a next sentence after that? That's the absurdity, isn't it? How many can say that firstly in the world? It's a very first world problem. Which is to say, yes, you've been very clear, you've told us how to find God's light in minute detail as much as is possible to point out, and beyond. And actually, all the tools, all the pointers that are needed are available with us. We just have to follow. So first we must recognize the grace in that, the privilege in that. And secondly, we must not waste that at any cost. You see? And how does it get wasted? It doesn't, when we are wasting it, we don't think we are wasting it for life. When we are wasting it, the gift of God, nobody feels that we are wasting it for our entire life. We just feel like we're wasting it for today. You see, just for today, not it. You see, today I have to solve this problem, today this problem, this problem. You see, and and soon our life is over. You see? You know that in the recent past, I've seen some of that in my family. So it is not that anybody leaves this life, whoever, like, let's say those who are even slightly interested in God, nobody leaves this life feeling that they will not give God more focus, more time. Nobody leaves like that. Everyone feels like tomorrow onwards I'll start. Tomorrow onwards, full on. I joke with my son sometimes because he never says no to anything. You see? He only says tomorrow. Can you fill up that form for your college? I'll do it when tomorrow. I will. Are you going to speak to this one tomorrow? You see? So everything is only tomorrow. And this is a very, it seems so innocent and humble actually. It's not saying no, it's tomorrow. You see? Later.
You don't always know that you're doing it though, you know.
Yeah, you don't
it's
realize.
not always apparent, yeah.
You don't realize, absolutely. Absolutely right. So we don't realize it. You see? But look at what we just said. We said, and all of you nodded, is everything that you need to find and to be in God available to you? Most of you said yes. Now you realize you may be in trouble, so you're not nodding as much. But if that is the case, then what are we resolving? What other things do we have to solve? How about we reverse it? We say, okay, we find and we live in God first, and then we'll solve all the other problems.
Well, Father, that's what your inquiry did. It wasn't just about the surface level of what I was inquiring into. It showed me that I wasn't valuing God.
Yes. Yes.
That's
just value God above all else.
Yeah.
Above anything which is self-concerned. Is it? Anything which is about me. Even that whether I am valuing God. Oh, I am, because very quickly, I've had these conversations over many years. So with so many. So what can happen is that, yes, value God. And then we start tracking how much am I valuing God. Yeah, I'm valuing God this much, tomorrow this much. So again, who becomes the central protagonist? The me. So it is very sneaky. It is very tricky, you see. So just empty is easier than moderately empty. It may sound strange, okay? But somebody told me, and it occurred to me, it is very true about this. They said to me that abstinence is easier than moderation. I realized that this is true. You see? So just empty actually is easier than picking and choosing and saying, okay, this is, I'm going to engage with this, and you see, because then it just you're stuck in some way. So just empty is much easier than moderately empty. If anything comes, you see, anything comes. God's problem, Guru's problem. If you want to be attached to me, be attached to me in this way, no? And tell me if I let you down. Then tell me if I let you down. If you make everything my problem, make everything my problem. Okay? So to let go, to use the master in this way that we can just surrender everything to them is one of the best benefits of having a master. And if you don't do it, then it adds to more struggle. You see, one child told me very sweetly, of course, and all of you are very good intentions. I'm not questioning that. One child told me very sweetly that I don't come to you or I don't come close to you because I know how much you take on from us. You see? So they're just like water saying, I will not flow because I don't want the ocean to become more full. So I'm not saying, by the way, that I'm the ocean and none of that. I'm just saying that they're drawing a metaphor that you just have to let go of all of that. And this was the difference that happened here when I went to Guruji versus all the other spiritual shopping that I did. That whatever life had squeezed the daylights out of me, or for whatever reason, I just felt like, as I met Guruji, I just felt like all his problem now. All his problem now. So this is very, very helpful. When we let go of everything, then we also let go of our interpretations and our meaning to what something is. Because can we really determine, do we have the tools? You see, and I had this big note that I sent to most of you about the human condition and the nature of the mind. So it is in the human condition that we are stuck with this sort of mind. It has the ability to ask the questions, big questions. Why does this happen like this? What is right and what is wrong? What is good? What is bad? What is free will versus God's will? What is all of this? But where is the capacity in that bundle of thoughts to get an answer? It's just a holder of concepts, basket of concepts. Can it really understand the functioning of God? And it is human arrogance, like the strangest form of human arrogance, which I'm noticing more and more these days, is our judgments about God and God Himself. How could God do this? It's like not even like a drop talking about the functioning of the ocean, not even a cloud talking about the sky and space. You see? So what we are actually doing in that is that we are making our intellect superior to God's will. Like I understand things, you see, and I am going to make judgments even on the way God is running this universe.
Yes.
That's a strange sort of absurdity. And this is the state of the human condition, that we feel like the answers that we derive in the form of concepts, which is meaning, basically, is meaningful. Okay? And that's why if anybody comes and offers anyone, I'll tell you the meaning of life. See, I'll tell you, this is the meaning of life. You see, and by now, most of you are jaded. You've read every possible interpretation of the meaning of life. You see? And you realize that it is not possible in that way. We are not capable in our heads of understanding the meaning of life. The meaning of anything, in fact. Imagine if you were not trying to figure it out. You would just have so much free time to be with God. You're not going, but why? But why? But why? And we don't have a single why answer to a why. You see, that we can report back and say, see, I asked why, and this is the answer, and this is the truth. You see? So it's very funny what's coming to me. So when I was very young, my parents, they moved to a small country in the Middle East called Bahrain. So in Bahrain, what happened is that I got this bug for reading. So I would read everything. There was a beautiful library which the British Council used to run close to my house. But it just occurred to me that my father, every week, he would buy me this book. It was the Tell Me Why series. No, so the first one was Tell Me Why. The second one was Still More Tell Me Why. And then Here's More Tell Me Why. And then, you see, but that is a very good metaphor for the human condition. Yes, why? Why? And we don't, like, do we ever have a good answer? No, we just settle for something and we feel like, this is the answer.
The answer never lasts. Anyway.
Because there is nothing. We just have to admit that the tool that we have in the form of our mind is incapable of these deeper questions. And that is where Buddha's statement about the fifth is important. So if a question is asked to him, what is the meaning of life? He may say the fifth. You see, note that he is not saying, can't be done, not for you. Not saying any of that. He's saying the fifth. And the fifth is where the intellect cannot get. You see? So some of you may be hearing this the first time. The first is that something is true. The second corner of the room is that something is untrue. Most of our life goes in these two corners: true, untrue, right, wrong, good, bad. You see, all of that we determine these two corners. You see, for those who like philosophy and maybe they've done some meditation or just something has softened them up, they may feel like there are other two corners also. Something can be both true and untrue, and something can be neither true nor false. You see, you may say that this is a nice openness. You see? But the real truths are to be found beyond these four corners. So this is the fifth. What is that fifth? Until you do not come to that instrument which shines the light on the fifth corner, till then we are playing with the wrong instruments. At least for this job. At least for this job. We're still playing in the mind, intellect, judgment, interpretation, all of these things. So, and that is why all the questions in the invitation, the question of the inquiry, who am I? So many questions you hear in Satsang here as well. They cannot be answered using our traditional mechanisms. Because the nature of God cannot be understood in that way. So So why did Buddha say the fifth? You know? He should have just said, shut up, you have no chance. You see? But he was not saying that. He was pointing us to another way in which the fifth becomes apparent to us. And that way is the way of the heart, the way to live in God's light, the way to live in Sadguru presence, the way to be in Holy Spirit. The terminology is not important. Do all of us have the tools now that we can live in the heart moment to moment? Yes, sir. The way mild is coming. Yes. And I can tell you that any satsang, any true satsang doesn't have to be Ananta. Any true satsang, if you just hear any master sharing truly, in that time of sharing, all the tools that you need are made available to you. So now it is no longer enough because you notice the mind trick which will come and say, oh, it is just habit. Oh, it is just stubbornness. It is not enough because what are we doing with that? We're still doing the same thing, which is determining the nature of something based on the mind's interpretation. So we still may go back to that. The mind baits us again in that trap by saying, I know what is happening to you. It is only because of habit, only because you're stubborn. Something. How are you without making a single judgment about you or the world? Because till we become empty like that, all the talk of God will just be conceptual. We were joking the other day, and maybe you'll share this satsang on Wednesday. We were joking and saying, suppose it was not like this. Suppose that Sri Rahim and Sri Kabir, they were wrong when they said that the lane is too narrow. You see, the lane is too narrow. There is not enough space for me and God. They were wrong about this. We did some more science and technology has improved. So now we can tell you that there is enough space for the me, which is the ego, and for God. Would anyone wish that on the world? That somebody egotistical finds God and they can run on their own terms with shining in God's light. Nobody would wish that. Because our own terms are only slightly bearable because we don't have any power. If we had God's light with us and we were running on our own terms, Ravan multiplied by 1,000. So nobody wants that for themselves or for the world, isn't it? So thankfully, by God's grace, that may not happen. So therefore, if it is impossible for us to be egotistical and for God's light to shine on us in that way, then we must stop being egotistical. Because it is not going to happen otherwise. And egotistical sounds like a very scary word. I'm not egotistical. I'm the least egotistical person you could ever find. So, what is egotistical? Egotistical means still attached to a narrative of me. Still has a story which seems true about the non-existent ego, the non-existent me. So, Which one of your stories is not about you? Is it? Is it? In fact, we don't enjoy them at all. We read a book or go to a movie. We can't relate with the story at all. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that book. I couldn't relate to it. It was not approachable at all. Is it? So, till we are able to insert the me into something, we feel like we can't enjoy that. Is it? So, that's why I'm saying that complete abstinence is easier. Because without picking and choosing, without saying good, bad, nothing, just leave it all. Inwardly, okay? Not your houses, jobs, families, none of that. Inwardly, become open. What is the worst case scenario? Your life is going to become a mess. What do you think will happen if you keep following your mind this way? Mess is coming with the mind anyway. You all know that by now. You see, we've been in Satsang long enough to see that. But take the risk. Become an open mess. You see? I have yet to see one. I have yet to see one who's like open and a mess. Have you seen one? They're so. You see? Many have, of course, reported to me that, oh, but I'm so open. Still, I'm suffering. So, what is the problem there? The checker guy, no? The checker guy who's constantly checking, oh, how open am I? Yes, yes, I'm quite open. That itself is the restriction to the openness. You see, that itself is the frame, the lens through which we are meeting this world. So all of Guruji's pointings, which are live like a set of eyes, or somebody like a Douglas Harding, was it, where being headless, just, you were never born. You were never here. Then, and through some strange privilege, you're getting to perceive all of this. Now, but is this God? Who's asking? Can I live like this forever? No, because you were never born. All of us want to live in the unborn, no? But we can't. Why can't we live in the unborn? As long as you are around, you were born. So, do we all recognize that it is not going to be something that I will attain or get to? And by understanding this is not going to help you attain that. Most of us feel like, okay, we're just following what we're hearing in satsang. There is no me, there is no me. So that one day I can just really get this, So that is the half and half stuff. So if you just drop it, then God may come. I'm saying God may come because I am nobody to give a guarantee. I am nobody to give a guarantee. But without you doing that, I can guarantee you that it's not happening. As long as there's a me around, not happening. Now you're empty, possible. Now you're empty, possible. Now, possible. But me, what do I do? Is it coming from me? Not possible. Just can't work that way. And all of you have to be very careful. All of you have to be very careful. Because you're being exposed to a lot of subtle things, and many of them are flowering for you. This is the time where the ego really fight back in the strongest way. Try to make you special. Oh, I'm really getting Father. Or even I've gone beyond Father now. You see what came to me the other day, and Father has never said this. Don't you feel it's so cool? It's so direct. Just be very careful. I wish, and my prayers and blessings are always for this. May all my children share God in such a beautiful way that people may also wonder, how did this beautiful child come from Ananta? I'm happy with that. But don't make that a judgment onto yourself. This is where pride really comes for you. Is it true that there is a God? I'm only half rhetorical about it. Is it true that there is a God?
It is not true.
Not true. No.
I just feel to say it's not true. But I cannot really explain why. But oh, sorry, the phone is ringing. It's not nothing. It must be
God is
God.
calling.
It must be God saying. It must be God saying, "Oh, what do you say? What do you say?"
Remember the one
I
you were
do.
yesterday?
No, I feel you feel there's
You better
there's
answer.
there's not a God. There's not a God. No.
We don't even know who's on the phone.
No.
Uh,
I don't care. I don't know what I feel. I feel there's not a God. Maybe only God is, but even we cannot catch it anyway.
Huh?
We cannot catch it in words anyway. So maybe open and empty
Hmm.
is possible, and then we'll see.
Hmm. So what happened is that a few 100 years back, India is the place where a lot of this spirituality, spiritual debates, all of that happened. You know, there was a big sort of the main debate of the time was between the Vedantins and the Buddhists. Mhm. The main debate was about Sunyata. There was the Buddhist saying, there is no God, there is nothing. 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 Vedantin saying that there is Brahman is all there is. It is the unmanifest as well as the manifest, all is Brahman. Of course, and hundreds of different types of Buddhists and hundreds of different types of Vedantins with their own modulations of these things. But basically, the main debate is that. Now, the modulations are about whether there is a Nirguna Brahman, Saguna Brahman, Jagat, Jiva, all that stuff. We can debate all of that. Now, the main one, at least that I've come across in Buddhism, who was really, according to me, the king of negation. Everything. No. Is there a Buddha? No. So one day, his Sangha members, the story goes, that he and his disciple Chandrakirti, so his Sangha member, their Sangha members came, or some other Sangha, Buddhist Sangha members came and said, there's no Buddha. He said, no. Then he said that, why you call yourself a Buddhist then? How are you a Buddhist? You see? So then he explained that in the lack of grasping, and even the notion of Buddha, whatever, keeps us away from our Buddha nature. And therefore, a conceptual emptiness is the only way to attain the true Buddha. Which is exactly what Vedanta is saying. Neti, 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 everything till you cannot neti anymore. Not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. Till you cannot anymore. Now, if upon this, and this has to be shared carefully because it can become part of the conceptual grasping. So if upon all of this, we do not discover the one that is the light of this universe, then we might as well just be like nihilists or like a branch of philosophy which is just like, there's really nothing. No, it's not that there's a deeper meaning which we cannot understand conceptually. There really is no meaning, just like like that. So, but what is the difference between satsang and nihilism? Because even in satsang, I may say there's nothing. Nothing. Whatever the highest you can think of, let's get the Rubugita open. He negated everything. You see? So he's basically doing the same thing as Nagarjuna or Chandrakirti. But I want to tell you that nothing is very good. that God's light is everything and God's existence is real is very good. If you can transcend that aspect of your being where these seem like opposites and therefore troublesome, then you are free. So there is no difference between the pure zero Sunyata and the reality of the everlasting being, the everlasting self. Will the mind ever be able to reconcile these two opposites? No, but we don't need it to. We don't need it to. Yeah.
On Monday,
Oh, it's you. You can hardly see the same today.
you can see me.
It's
Okay. On Monday, I think you were talking about the difference between, not the difference, you were talking about inquiry and you were talking about, am I audible?
barely a difference between inquiry.
I can, yeah, I should be wearing my headphones. I don't know where they are. You were talking about the difference. You were talking about inquiry and you were talking about neti, and like just say no, not this, not this, not this. And then you said, but also you can say all is God.
No,
And this,
yeah.
and these two, and this two. And what you're saying now, it reminds me of the contemplation that came after that, because it seemed that there is no difference between saying not this, and these two.
Yeah.
And it actually, a while back, you said to me, just pick one of the two and then go.
Don't you mean to say that it's completely different and yet there is no difference?
No, just for the mind there is a difference, but in contemplation it's the same.
And is there any difference in anything without the mind?
No.
Amazing. So all differences, all distinctions arise only in the mind.
And there's beauty about this. Instead of neti, it is encompassing.
Yes. Do you want to do what you prefer or what you don't prefer?
Sorry,
Would you like to do what you prefer or what you don't prefer?
I don't understand the question.
In the sense that I got a sense you're saying that something feels better if it is all inclusive rather than a negation.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that what do you prefer, to do what you prefer or not prefer? It's a circular question.
Someone is saying I sound really low. I don't know what you're asking. You're asking me what I prefer, or
No, I'm saying that suppose you were to make a preference.
okay.
So suppose you were to make a preference and say this works best for me or is best for me. But you recognize that the tool for preference making itself is fraudulent. Then what would you prefer?
Yeah, and that's also why I opened the mic, because I
Yeah.
wanted to check in case.
Yeah.
But what came at the time was with the neti, there can be sometimes the mind makes it into rejection, or okay, it's not that. So something needs to be fixed because that should not be there, or something like this. But in this other way, it's the and I understand what you're saying.
I see what you're saying. But neti actually is very simple. It is just like I am perceiving this. It is not perceiving me. It is not aware of me. I am not that. I am perceiving this, or I am aware of this. It is not aware of me. I am not that. We don't have to complicate it at all. And the only sort of reason why I'm reminding you of this is that maybe your mind is just trying to save itself from that which it finds very potent. I'm not concluding, we're just conversing, saying that we have to be a little careful of our preferences. And we say, this is what happens in niti, and this is versus this is what happens in inclusion. And when we say that, for me, I just feel like, I prefer to do the neti because I can just sit and I don't have to include and like that. You see? So I'd be careful of that also. You see? So if you can if you're clear that it is coming from your heart, then it's absolutely fine. But if it is a mind judgment, then I'd continue to be very open either way about it, because the mind is not going to help you do the job of freeing you from it.
But what if it comes from just verifying that one makes?
What do you mean by verifying?
Just in contemplation, it's verified that there's open.
Yes, but what is the tool of verification?
I don't know.
In the sense that, can you verify how many of us are in this room today? You see, you may say, yes, I can verify it. Give me a minute, Father. 1, 2, 3. So you say, okay, the tool of verification is the counting, and my intellect can store the number. You see, and we can proceed in that way. So now, what is working better for you to become free or to come to self-knowledge? What tool of verification can we trust?
But we can know when we're open and empty, no?
Okay. So now you're open and empty. Then if the mind says you're being open and empty, or you're being very distracted, is that a knowing? What is the knowing of when we are open and empty? How is it to be known?
But you're not saying that we shouldn't pick one way of inquiring, are you? Just because.
No, I'm not saying, if you had said the other way, I would have said also this way. I'm just saying that it's very difficult to negate the negation process also. And I don't feel like it's that easy for us to be able to say that this is better or this seems helpful here, unless it's very clear intuitively. Unless your Sadguru presence within is guiding you in that way. You see, we cannot. Maybe it is just one neti. The mind will fight it with all its might and say, no. Anantaji gave us such a good tool the other day. We don't have to do neti. We can include everybody. What is your heart saying? The only time we can become deterministic is when it is intuitively apparent to us the guidance. You know what I mean by deterministic? Like we determine that this is better, this is worse, this is right, this is wrong, this is for me, this is not for me. We cannot become deterministic about any of those things, you see, till it's apparent in my heart, in your heart. And you will lose nothing in that openness. Only the mind will feel very wobbly. And what should I actually do? What should I actually do? It can have this question.
I like it because it feels like you're contradicting what you once said to me now.
Yes, yes, always. How much are we determining about ourselves? We may feel like that is the only way to live. I have to know what is better for me, no worse. No, you don't. Because your heart can guide you. We must all, this may sound very absurd to you, we must all stop being scared of being mentally confused. Okay? When we feel like we are mentally confused, it feels like a very oppressive state. It is only because our attempt has been to try and make meaning over there. So the first part of satsang, that's all I spoke about. What's the problem with confusion? Like, who is your master? I don't know. Which practice? I don't know. Where do you live? I don't know. What are you going to do with your life? I don't know. Or like yesterday, I thought it's this morning, I thought it's something else. Now I'm feeling something else. Fully confused. We hate that, no? And we meet somebody like that, we say, what a waste, fully confused. Is it? If you came to this satsang and I was just like, I don't know what to tell you. And just log off. Guruji said, log off. Yeah. So this confusion has become a bad thing in the world. And that's why we are constantly in this battle, besides seeking pleasure and avoiding pain, to just remain in clarity. I want to remain in clarity. Clarity. But that kind of conceptual clarity cannot be found. Cannot be found. You will build a framework, you will bet your whole life on it, and but like most philosophers at the end of their life will refute everything, if they're honest. The greatest philosophers have done that. So what's the difference between a philosopher and a sage? The sage maybe to communicate uses a particular framework, but does not really invest in it, is not really saying that that framework is the truth. It's just a mechanism. And the sage is constantly saying they don't know anything anyway. It's all nonsense. Whereas a philosopher is determined, this is how. And if they don't refute it, then the next guy comes and refutes it. Isn't it? So no philosophy really stands the test of time, versus spirituality seems to be different. How is it that thousands of years ago, some sages wrote something in the Upanishads, and then thousands of years later, illiterate BD seller says the same thing? Yes, very naturally. What is the source of knowledge which we can truly rely on? We were talking about this the other day. I was saying that it is clear to me that this universe is just one out of millions, like fireflies. They go and come. They come and go. For me, in my reality. And just a simple statement like that caused a lot of stir, no, in all of you, which is a good stir. Which is a good stir, saying, how is he saying that? Is that a belief? A belief? Is it a spiritual experience? Yeah, very good question. It's like, did you zoom out and then you saw like that, like a spiritual experience, like a out of body, really amplified out of body? No. Not a belief, because that would just be conceptual. Not a perception, because that would just be a perception, but an insight. And that is the tool for discovering God, for finding the self. How to use that tool? Stop using the other ones. Take the risk. How many of you want to risk your life on this intuitive insight, Sadguru presence within you, just to sound it, make it sound? Rest of you know? You see, if you're truly willing to risk your life, then the temptation of the mind will not seem that compelling. But if you're not willing to risk your life, or an aspect of your life, then if I said to you that to be free, you have to let go of one thing, what would you say no to your master also? One sweet man came the other day, he said, okay, I'll let go of everything, but do you guarantee that I'll find God? I said, no, because then it won't be a risk at all. No? Who won't make that? It sounds like a very good exchange. Leave this world, find God. Leave this world, find God. See? Now leave this world, but just because you love God, but no guarantee. No guarantee that you will be free, that you will be enlightened. Nothing. In fact, your worst fears may come true. Scared of becoming a beggar on the street? You don't know. Maybe that is God's will. Up for it? Pakka? Oh, everyone knows this much. Kierkegaard had these beautiful words, simple words. No risk, no faith.
That was the exception to the rule philosopher.
Ah, he was, yes. Well caught. Well.
Father, may I bring something from the
Yes, but a little louder so we can get it when you bring it.
I can grab my
Just come
headset.
close. Come close. It's fine when you're close. Yeah.
Here?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, okay. Yes, we were talking about awareness and consciousness. And at one point, I asked about whether consciousness is of something, if consciousness needs the world. And you
Consciousness
said
is the world.
needs the
Needs
world.
the world.
Yeah,
Needs or meets?
needs.
Needs. Consciousness
Yeah.
needs the world. Is that your sense that consciousness needs the world?
I contemplated on it afterwards, and it's not.
When you
my
say
sense.
that, do you mean that, oh, I need the world like that? Or are you saying that to confirm that there is consciousness, there must be perception of the world?
Yes, exactly. That was the question at the time. And then I opened I am that, and he was talking about exactly that. And I think he uses consciousness slightly differently from you.
Yeah, I want to tell you one thing. I may get in big trouble for this, but I feel like the translators of I am that were a bit like confused between consciousness and awareness. So sometimes they use it like that, sometimes they use it like this, sometimes they use it like... Overall,
So
it's a beautiful book. It takes us beyond the limited ego, but don't look at I am that to give you confirmation in terms of the subtleties, the qualitative seeming subtleties of the term awareness versus the term consciousness. And it's a very tough thing to expect a translator to get that from the Marathi that Maharaj was speaking, to translate it accurately. So I'm not
funny thing is,
blaming
in
him, but
Spanish, there isn't even two words for awareness and consciousness, so it would be next to impossible.
and you'll be surprised that maybe in Marathi also they aren't, or maybe even in Hindi, like Maharaj was speaking Marathi. I don't know what. Do you know this? Marathi means different words for consciousness, awareness.
My bad.
Even in Hindi, it's a bit of a stretch.
Yes. He seemed to be saying different things.
But the good thing is that Bhagwan's English was very good. Bhagwan's English is really good, so we can rely on his pointings. I mean, if you really want to get the big guns into it.
Sorry?
I said, if you really need to get the big guns into it, you can rely on Bhagwan's English, because his English was exceptional.
Yeah. It didn't really matter because it brought me to the same space, whatever it said, as you do. And then afterwards I contemplated on, sorry, go ahead.
Brought me to the same place.
You've been very choppy with me today.
With me today. You mean that communicatively, or is this about you coming to some space?
I don't know what you're asking me right now.
In the sense that is subtly there a desire to be in a particular state? And all of this somehow becomes a medium towards that.
Not about a state. No, it's about.
But still about me?
No, me is not there when there is inside.
And you like that?
Do I like that there is no me?
Yes.
Of course.
When there is no me. Oh, nice. And this digging very into very subtle areas today. Because sometimes we can just, something can hide there saying, oh, I prefer this, or this is better. And actually there's no difference in this because in both I am this way. I'm just smelling something slightly over there, which I can't let you go with. So who is this about? Tell me again.
This whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about something. It's not about a story.
Not about anything else. You know. And then better or worse is from whose perspective?
Just from story. Just
Hmm.
from excuse,
Just from?
from mind.
From mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me something true.
Mhm.
Is it cold for anyone? You can turn it off.
It's the first thing that comes is I love you, Father. But
Mhm.
even in that there is duality, no?
Are you trying to get me to be less choppy? Huh?
No, chop away, Father.
Just investigate further into this, contemplate deeper into this thing, because just a couple of times today I got a little bit of sense that like the seeker is trying to control the journey in some way.
But one mind always try to control.
Yes, yes. But when I'm saying it is trying to control, I'm being nice. Trying to sound less choppy. So maybe what I'm saying is that maybe some belief is going into that kind of thing. Oh, did you leave? No. Connection
Are
is
you
gone.
talking
Ah,
to me? I'm here.
Hi. Your position switched on the screen.
Oh,
It's like you're on the next page now.
oh.
So was your Zoom hand up before that? Maybe that was what happened.
No, I didn't raise my hand. Did you need
No,
me to?
it's fine. It's fine. I can see you. So of course, it's really never about what the mind is attempting to do. Only what we have to keep smelling for, is there some identification with that? Is there some grasping at that? If you followed your heart and you did, because your heart guided you in that way, but you did exactly the opposite of what was needed for your freedom,
Mhm.
that'd be okay?
Because I followed my heart.
Yes. But
Yeah.
for 20 years, you did all the wrong things which took you away from freedom.
How would I know that if I'm following my heart?
Yeah, but suppose someone came and told you, and someone who spoke the truth came and told you, oh, what you've been doing is self-inquiry. You should have been a bhakta. Your temperament is that of a bhakta. Really, you wasted 20 years.
Depends on who says that. If you said that, then
Yeah, not me, but somebody like, somebody that the world may trust usually.
I don't care.
What is the risk you're taking?
Every risk.
Huh?
Every risk.
Every risk. What are you risking at the moment? Not at the moment, in general these days.
Often I feel like maybe I'm not risking enough.
Just risk the spiritual outcomes. Just risk it all. Just leave it. Everything. There's a risk you may be confused for the rest of your life. You may not know which is better for you and which is worse. You may not even know which is the right path. But you're not going to determine anything in your mind. If your heart never speaks, never gives you the slightest guidance also, you will not follow the mind. Even if that is interpreted in some way as being confusion, like she's a really confused one, she has no idea. Everyone in Argentina Sangha says, Georgie, she was so clear at one point. Now look at her, so confused. Okay with that? Very good, very good. Very good.
Thanks.
Hands. Just start speaking.
Yeah, Father. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Yeah, I've just I'm not finding any fulfillment in the world, you know. Not like I don't find like I find a lot of frustration. A lot of my expectations and hopes are just being not met.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yes.
I'm hoping it's a blessing to you know, make me less interested in the dream.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to say that more and more. My hopes about the world, about living a life in the world, work and relationships and home life, and all of this is being frustrated.
Yeah.
And any guidance that you have, or any,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so some whistling sounds. Okay, maybe that was an actual bird, which I'm saying because we don't get so many of them here. So, if we are spiritual, you see, what is the meaning of being spiritual? That there is a person interested in spirituality? Is that what spiritual is? And therefore, by virtue of being spiritual, we deserve more peace, more satisfaction, more joy, more love. Is that spirituality? I would say that that is a sort of new agey type spirituality, which is a fake spirituality. Spirituality simply means that it's about the spirit. And spirit is God's light. So if I am spiritual, then that means that my life only has to be about God's light, not about me. And not as a means so that if I can let go of the me, then me can be better. You see? It is not an attainment of something in this world. So God will then be the medium through which I can get to a better place. It is about how well, if we are going to judge something, then that judgment should be how well am I being in service to God?
Mm.
What is all of this for? Who is all of this for? Is my love for God just a convenient means to get something in my life? And I'm not saying that it is this way for you or any of you. I'm just saying that when we come to the sheer end of this question, we realize that whatever is left of me, may that just be an instrument in God's hands to do with it as God pleases, and not so that we can in any way have a better set of perceptions, which we may call our life. How are we so far?
Yeah, there are definitely moments where I wish for some enlightenment to enjoy being me more. There's a lot of confusion about what is the right thing to do, what is the right way to go, what is the right path to follow. I don't know. And
Very good. Okay, so let's go really slowly on this because there's so much to talk about in these things. So, firstly, we could not be offering up emptiness, you see, as a tactic which can get the me into some sort of better position. You see, emptiness is a sheer innocence, a sheer zero, where if you somewhere hold on to the idea that that emptiness should lead to something, then it's not really an emptiness, isn't it? You see, the room has to be empty, but you're lurking in the corner waiting for to see what happened after that. You see, then that's not really empty, isn't it? So I'm not saying something really complicated. I'm just using this metaphor to explain that what we do is we try to clean up the furniture, we try to move everything out, you see, and then but we are still waiting there to say, Acha, now empty, I'm empty. No, empty of you. You see, like then what may happen is that we may say, oh yeah, I'm out. Is it working? I'm out. Oh, did that work? You see? So we're not really going out. We are just playing hide and seek with God. in this way. So a good antidote to that is to remember that spirituality is about God and not about you. That you became spiritual is God's way to spread his light. Not so that you can become something, you can become special, or you can become free or peaceful or happy, none of that. Because in this strange sort of play, in this Leela, there's the force of the mind, which seems to be controlling most of humanity. And there is God's light, which seems to be rare at this point. But when we switched over sides from the ego shadow to God's light, then God has to guide the way, show the way, and whatever is experienced here must be only about God. It must not be about, oh, how is this helping me? You see? That is the first part. That's about true emptiness versus an emptiness that we can try and use to become something. You see? So till we don't die onto ourselves, then we may have glimpses into God's light, but it will seem so difficult to remain in God's light. So, and to what is the way to die to yourself is to become unattached and completely open, non-resistive of everything. That is the first thing. The second thing is that you'll never meet a heart which is confused. You never meet a unless you're calling some emotional state the heart. But the Sadguru presence is never confused. Your intuitive presence, your intuitive light, God's light is never confused. So, and this is why I was saying that it's completely fine if your head is fully confused. You see? Because what I find most of you are still doing is try to resolve your mental confusions instead of remaining in the heart. Because you feel like that is stopping you. It is not stopping you. It is just a distraction. You see, it is just saying this problem is there. You fix this first, then God ko kal dekhenge. You'll find God tomorrow. For now, let's just resolve this particular problem that we have. So this is basically an attack on God or a distraction from God. So let your mind be confused. I'm confused about everything. Like I have no idea how to share satsang. You see, I have no idea what my path is. Am I a Advaitin? Am I a Bhakta? Am I a Zen master? Am I like none of these, horrible at everything? Possibly. I have no idea. You see? But all I can do, all with full-heartedly, is to come and sit here and just allow my heart to speak. You see? So is my head clear about what Ananta's path is? No idea. Somebody said to me the other day, one of the children here said, somebody was saying that you share Advaita Vedanta very well. I was like, really? Do I share Advaita Vedanta? For a minute I was confused about that. So it's okay. Let your mind be fully confused. As long as you are not concerned about its judgments, how can its confusions bother us? In fact, the mismatch between this strange play, you see, the play and where the play comes from, the mismatch between that and the mind's ability to understand is infinite. So if you had a lot of mental clarity, then I would be concerned. You see, but if you are confused, I'm very happy in the sense that your head is confused. But if that turns into your belief that you are confused, then maybe not so happy. But allow your head to be confused. You live in God's light. But that can only happen when it all becomes for God, about God. So risk it all. That seems to be the theme for today, isn't it?
Can I ask, how do I know when it is all for God?
Yes. Yes. When the mind offers you temptations which are for the me, but you can stay steady in the guidance or the presence of your heart, then you know in your heart that this is for God. And it's moment to moment. We can never say, oh, fully, this life is fully for God. We may have that intention, but it has to be lived out only moment to moment. You see? This moment, are you going with your mind's confusions and temptations and problems and assertions and interpretations, or are you unconcerned about the state of your life and because God is with you in your heart? We have every reason to love God, every reason. But at some point, our love must go beyond reason. It must become an unreasonable love for God. But even if you were to do this rationally, we have every reason to love God. But I am pointing you to that which is a serious infection, a serious God infection. It is unreasonable, which may be even interpreted by your mind and the mind of others as insane.
There is a fear of losing control or of giving up control.
Risk it. Don't wait for that fear to go away, risk it. This is what I mean by risk, because the mind will tempt you and interpret your emotions in a certain way and say, this is what this is. Risk it for God. It's not, stop expecting it to be easy firstly. Expect it to be really difficult. And then whenever this comes, okay, it's tough, but I risk it for God. Whatever you have to offer um, from the mind, just say, I'm not in this for comfort. I'm not in this for myself. Whatever is God's will, only that will unfold. You cannot live in God's light and be with self-concern at the same time. What is the worst case scenario? What is the worst case scenario? What will happen?
Lose my job and my relationship and my home.
Yeah. You lose your job, you lose your relationship and your home, and maybe
Family.
you followed the wrong master, you did not even find God, and you risked it all and you lost all of it. I'm not even saying in exchange for God, you make that exchange. That sounds very noble and holy and all of that. I'm just saying that I'm inviting you to take the stupidest risk of your life. Risk it all in the heartfelt intention of finding God. So in the metaphor that may be helpful is that if I said to you, what is the city you're living in right now? Not Dublin. Dublin. Okay. So if I said to you that if you cross a very dangerous street for 10 seconds, I will promise you that you will have the best relationship in your life, full of love. You may say 10 seconds, most dangerous street, Dublin, it's not one of the most dangerous cities in the world. I'll risk it. So now I'm telling you that there's a chance that you may find God. What are you willing to risk for that? Poverty, no love in your life, and not even finding God, no meaning, no fulfillment, nothing. You take the risk.
I feel like I found God already, and I've just become reinterested in the dream, the story,
Yes.
the personal like story, you know.
So the finding of God usually when we talk about is the remaining in God. Is the remaining in God. It's the finding and remaining. But because just finding and then leaving is as good as not having finding. Maybe worse. So to find and remain. As you remain, you find that it is possible to have individual will and individual concern. Were you the first one to make it happen? That you managed to separate the lane very neatly between the me and God, and you managed to squeeze both of them in to the same lane. I doubt very much that any of us can make that happen. You see, and that is at the beginning of Satsang. I don't know if you were there, but that's what I was saying. That is the endeavor for most spiritual seekers, that they will be the first one to accomplish this thing where the ego can still remain and can remain while continuing to be in God's light.
It feels like there's a responsibility to the me that's living the life, that like if there was no life,
Oh, my
no
dear.
opportunity to live a life,
No.
there
Sorry, I have to stop you there. So,
please, thank you.
the me is living a life. Which me is this one? Who is this me that's living this life?
The one that I believe myself to be from time to time.
Oh, what's happening in the life of the caterpillar on your nose? And don't you have a responsibility towards that? You're getting where I'm going with this. A made-up responsibility for a made-up entity doesn't make it real or valuable.
Yeah, so sometimes I believe in the story of the me.
Right now, you're believing that sometimes you believe in the story of the
Yes.
Just empty, my dear, empty. This is a fresh start. Every moment is a fresh start. Full. God is fully here for you. Just let go. Don't worry about what happened in the past. We can only have, if at all, have responsibility for something. You see, we must have it only for an existent one. We cannot have responsibility for a non-existent one. And the existent one is just this life itself, God's light, being itself. And that is exactly the responsibility that I'm reminding everyone of. We have let go of our responsibility for the true existent one, for a non-existent entity, just a fictional character. How much understanding and intellect do we need to remain in God's light?
There's nothing that can be done to take you away from the space of God. There's
Something can be done. So in the sense that you're absolutely right that as a fact, nothing can be done. But I've never met someone who can be in the hypnosis of even one thought and that it does not seem to them that they have left God's light. Never met anyone. Just one thought, in the hypnosis of one thought, where it does not seem to them that they have left God's light. So satsang is an antidote for the seeming. It is not an antidote for reality, because in reality nothing has changed, nothing has ever happened. And if you were not suffering from the seeming, if we were not suffering from the seeming, then we would most probably not be here. You see? So it's a rehab for the seeming, it is the medicine for the seeming, it is the antidote to the seeming alone. You see? Now, as we continue to suffer with the seeming, because we rely on our memory or what we have learned, we may try to say that, oh, but in reality nothing has happened. But that is true, but that's not helpful. Because it's all about fixing what seems to be true rather than being actually true. So if we were to confine ourselves to only that which is actually true, then there's nothing really to talk about. You see, but we are here because we have the seeming problem. The problem itself is the seeming. We have a seeming problem. The Leela is we have a Leela problem, a Maya problem. And it is impossible to let go of the Leela problem, the Maya problem, while relying on conceptual knowledge. And that conceptual knowledge may even be about an absolute reality. You can try this, no? Open and empty, very naturally, most of us are living in God's light. But try to believe a thought and make it not seem to you that you are limited. It will seem to you. You cannot escape it. That's the design of this play. And of course, so then we are working on solving a unexistent problem. But that concept also is not helpful at this point till we get rid of the seeming problem. The only way to live in God's light is to be empty of me. We cannot do both. Your mind will attack that, will be confused with that, your intellect will hate what I just said. But it doesn't matter. Those things don't matter. You see? you see many in the world today, because there's so much reliance on the intellect, which are trying to make an amalgamation of just according to them the right amount of ego and the right amount of God in their life. You see? It is not going to succeed.
Okay.
It is not going to succeed. So either that is possible, or then the sages were wrong when they said that the lane is too narrow. They can either be me or they can be God. The only way out of the seeming is to let go of self-will and self-concern.
That is the big fear.
But that, notice that there's an aspect of your being which is untouched by that fear. And you have to hold on to that for dear life. Because if you were to let the fear stop us every time, then it's an endless journey. Be attached to something that is not going to die. Is that a better way to put it?
Yes, I like that.
It felt that way when I said it, that this may feel better. But also observe the need to always feel good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Father, can I speak?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. I just come forward with a prayer to you, just to empty me of me and just remove everything that is not me and all the attachments. And just merge me with you. That part that keeps what you were saying before, coming to the self and then still keeping that bit,
Yes.
where one comes back to, So this is the prayer. That only you remain. Amen.
Is there something that you're hoping should happen as the outcome of the prayer?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yes, just leave it all along with the prayer.
Yeah.
Leave all outcomes, what it should mean for your life, what that should look like, what should happen or should never happen after this, all that. You have to leave all that.
I guess it's because I have a memory of an experience that this happened where there was nothing. And so therefore, there's that little thing keeping there saying, well, it's not like that, so it
Well,
can't be it.
if you go to a dark, empty room, there'll be nothing. So what? So what with that? Who wants to climb that ladder again?
Mm.
Sorry, I'll just mute everyone once because I keep. Is it just me hearing?
Is there an echo?
You can come now.
Is there an echo? Or
No, it's fine now. There's some whistling sort of sounds. I'm not sure what.
maybe it's because my husband is hearing next to me, but with the earphones, because he couldn't hear you properly.
Okay, don't worry.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I have got earphones as well, so shouldn't disturb.
It's fine. It's fine. So we're just exploring whether, of course, it's a beautiful prayer, but somewhere we can hide also in some spiritual expectation, some spiritual outcome. There you are. Completely empty of all self-concern. And by when I say self-concern, obviously small s, self. I don't mean this for you, but many times it can happen that there may be no real difference between a spiritual prayer and a worldly prayer. Many times it can happen like that, we pray spiritually, so we feel like, oh, that's good. But just, we saw someone who was saying, please get me a better car next year. We may feel like, oh, that's not, what kind of prayer is that? You asking God for a better car? But if at the root of both of those is self-concern, then it's basically the same. By the way, please don't take this to mean that I'm saying that we must not pray for anything. If we really believe something that it's better if it was this way, then there is no other place to take it than to prayer. Because over there, to put it in the altar of God in our heart is the best place to put it. Otherwise, we may just hide it in our mind. It's very good to, we feel like something is true, we must bring it to prayer. It's very good. I'm just saying that we can look deeply at whether there's a whisper of individuality, something hiding there, just to make sure that it helps us to become even more empty. Okay, next one. Who's quick to the draw? Not quick to the draw. Just start speaking. You can't start speaking because I muted everyone. So slow. I'm kidding. So, what do I do now? Now, we try now.
Radha, I just want to say, I'm sorry that I put my hand up and I put it down, but something is coming here to tell you that this one likes to be liked.
This which one?
The Chanda, the person. Just want to surrender it at your feet.
Did you make Mungeri Lal ke Haseen Sapne? No, you made another one. No, you didn't make.
Kashmakash.
No, I know. Just messing. So,
Yeah.
so what is absurd about that sapna is that the entity itself does not exist. No? The one who's having the dream itself doesn't exist. You getting what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's not just about the dropping the expectation of being liked or not liked, but also to realize that who is there? Okay, who is there? And that's the message I sent you also. Yes, nobody.
I just find, Father, when I'm interacting with people, this habit tends to come up of wanting to be liked, and the fundas of be kind, be loving, be helpful, the fundas come up very strongly.
And we've noticed, all of us have noticed that when we try to do that, it doesn't really serve its purpose, does it? You're neither authentically kind or loving in that way because we're trying to pose, we're trying to live up to a stereotype that we've created for ourselves. And it doesn't usually turn out well.
There's a fear here, Father, of being irritable or angry or losing it.
Yeah. But what happens is that as you don't allow it to just be natural moment to moment, then it will just fester, fester, fester. You see, and then when it will come out, it will come. Da-doom. But you don't want. So just moment to moment, don't bother about anyone liking you or not. I always like you. That
I love you, Father.
at one point that will be enough.
Yes, Father.
Very good.
Thank you.
Hello, Father.
Hello. To the draw.
Am I? Yeah, am I speaking
Yes,
to
my
you?
dear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you. It's kind of really difficult situation with so much mind madness, but you bring me back to my heart in such a big way. From the point of madness, something starts to transform in the heart when I hear you and I see you. Ever grateful. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, my child. So good that you're able to join us for longer today. Usually you have to go early. So
yes, I have to see to my mother, but today has been a boon. Yes.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
I remember your boxing metaphor. No? What did you say? The Tyson of Satsang or something?
Oh, yes, you're the Mike Tyson.
Today, not so much.
Satsang. But you just box my mind until it submits. I'm always giving you metaphors, Father, like the Loch
Yeah,
Netty monster.
yeah, I love that one. Definitely.
But it's in deep gratitude that you are like, I don't know, you just so help me come out of the mind back to my heart.
All my love. All my love to both. Okay, next one.
Am I audible, Father?
Yes, yes, my dear.
Hmm.
Good.
So, Father, you were speaking about confusion and
Take permission from your Guru Ma.
yes, yes, I've texted her if I can ask a question.
Guru Ma is in a deep trance right now. You can ask.
So you were speaking about confusion and all of that, Father. So recently, things are happening like everybody is asking me, "मैं क्या कर रही हूँ? Why am I doing? What am I doing?" And I'm not being able to answer.
Yeah.
And and then as you were saying, everybody is saying that I'm confused and I don't have clarity, and I don't have clarity, how will I give clarity to someone else? And so there's this fear that I'll be put onto medications again, or and then that
Meditation again?
nahi, dawai,
Oh,
medication. And it's a struggle to prove that you know how do I say that? I'm trying that trust, because the people who are questioning are close to me, and it's just, and when somebody questions Meera, it's very I feel very angry also. It's very not angry, but it's frustrating. क्यों नहीं समझ रहे?
okay, so you want acceptance about your confusion, but you want them all to be clear and not confused about what's happening with you. कि उनको क्यों नहीं समझ आ रहा? Why are they so confused? Like that? Something like that.
Yes.
So if you are expecting that the world will be okay with you being confused, then you have to also allow others to be confused. Why are you expecting clarity from them when you yourself are confused?
Yes.
Huh? So let's see if we can look at this in a way that you follow a way of the heart rather than worrying so much about confusion or clarity in your head. Okay? So what happens, what do we call confusion in our head actually? What is confusion?
When I'm not being able to explain,
Okay.
when I'm not sure about things.
Yes, I'm not able to explain to yourself or to others.
Others.
But you're clear for yourself what anything is. Like if I say to you, what is happening in your life, you feel like you are clear, but it's only difficult to explain to others.
I'm also not clear.
Right. So it is not just to others, but also to yourself, isn't it? Now, what is needed for confusion is that you need two opposing thoughts. You see, if you just had one type of thought, then no confusion possible. You need two opposing thoughts, you see, which seem to be almost equally weighted. So then you're confused, this or this, this or this. You see? Just like if this was a Swayamvar or something and you found two very handsome boys and you're just like, this one or this one, you can't pick, you see, so you're just stuck over there, very confused, and both the boys have gone. You see, so, so like that is the nature of our confusion when the mind proposes that there are two truths and both of them seem equally true. So what should we do, isn't it? Now, the only way out of this confusion is to try and not bother with either of them in your head. You see, your mind will tempt you and say, pick one of these, you see, and then you will get clarity about your life. But you will never get clarity about your life by picking a thought. You see, a thought will say anything, but it's just such a minuscule representation of what this really is. You see, so if you say, no, I had a great satsang with father. No, that could be one thought. Another thought will say, no, I was trying to understand father, but I didn't understand anything. You see, that is another thought. Now, both of them will be thoughts, but both of them, either of them will not represent what is real about you. They are just posing. They are just masks which are posing to represent reality for you. You see? So then where do we find the truth? If the mind's offers for clarity today is just so that it can confuse us tomorrow, you see? So that's why often I used to say, today's conclusion is tomorrow's confusion. So if it is not to be found in our head, then where can we go? What is true clarity? You see, because notice that mental clarity is a very provisional sort of state where you may be thinking, oh, I'm so clear. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that. I am so clear. How long does it last? Doesn't last. You see, it doesn't last for anybody as much as they may fake it. Any of the conclusions, they don't last for long. You see, because that is not the source of truth anyway. So there must be another way to live, which is independent of the mind's confusions and conclusions. What is that way?
Following what Meera is saying.
Yeah, so what is Meerama saying? She's in really deep trance today. Okay. What is she saying?
She just says trust and not forget God.
Yes. Yeah. So, in doing that, what happens is that whether your head is full of thoughts or it is empty like a yogi, it doesn't matter because you are living from your heart. Now, this heart is not an emotion center. You see, it is not that. So many people say, I am all heart. You see, but basically they're saying they just follow their emotions. So one day like that, one day like that, because it is the emotion. So in your heart, you can be guided moment to moment. How to follow the heart's guidance. There are two ways in which to live in the heart. One is to allow the heart itself to unfold everything that is happening without involving your head. You see? And the second is and usually the second happens once you lived in the first way for a long time, then you will also start receiving guidance from your heart. You see? And that guidance is maybe very confusing for the mind. But if you're determined to follow your heart, then you become unshakable in that. You see? So first is just to be open and empty, allow everything to be the master's problem, God's problem, not to worry about the conflicting thoughts in our head. Allow it to unfold. And the second is when you start hearing the holy whisper in your heart, And always good to get confirmation from your master, whether it's authentically that or just your mind posing as if it is that. Then when you start hearing that, then it is good to follow that at all costs. So we've taken the head out of the equation completely. So it doesn't matter. But no, but
Not right now. Thank you.
does it sound difficult? What is the difficult part of it?
I lack faith fully.
What is that another mental conclusion?
Yes, it's a thought.
You see? So just keep spotting that. And faith is your shield, it is your defense, which will keep you safe from your temptations of the mind itself. But don't fall for the spiritual thoughts of the mind, posing to be coming to help you. But if you are open and empty, and everything, your life just becomes a mess, then
It is already a mess.
it becomes even more of a mess.
Okay.
Then what will you do? I'm not predicting or anything. I'm just contemplating together.
It's okay. I'm okay.
Did that come from your heart or your head? Do you have a taste of what it is to live like just in your heart?
A little.
Yeah. So don't exchange that for anything. Any excitement, any temptation from the world, any offers from the mind. Just stay in your heart, and naturally, if it unfolds in a particular way, it's absolutely fine. But live your life to God's light. What are you most scared of?
There's so many of them. I would choose the most.
What is the worst case?
Right now, being taken away from Satsang, right? Being taken away from Mira.
Being taken away?
Yes.
Are you like a teenager? Why do you feel like others can take you away?
I feel like it is difficult to fight.
What makes it difficult?
I don't want to hurt.
Actually, what I may say, because my children are maybe probably closer to your age, so parents or well-wishers, really they want to see us happy. They don't want to see us unhappy. So to be happy, you just have to be empty. Papaji said, you need nothing to be happy, but you need at least one thing to be unhappy. But what is happening for you is you're creating like a battlefield in your head, which is more dangerous than the battlefield which is outside you. So I don't think the trouble outside you is just in a way a milder representation of the trouble that you're buying into for yourself. So you're creating this sort of mental battleground. Actually, it is not a battleground. You have to not love, firstly, not love anything which is like storyfied or a narrative or any sort of thing which you can say, this is what is happening to me. Just be empty of that. And as you be empty, then your whole presence will change. Your whole demeanor, your whole presence will change. And then you don't have to be worried about the world, because if they're truly well-wishers around you, then they will want only for you to continue to be happy. What stops you from being happy right now? Like even for a moment or two in the middle, you go into sort of a sadness. Can you do that without a thought and show me? मैं देख रहा हूँ. Now, don't believe a thought and become sad. What is the story of your life?
Nothing.
It's never anything that our mind can capture. So firstly, what you're expecting out of others, you have to do yourself. You have to do yourself. You say, I want to stay in spirituality, and you want to stay with your Guruji, but nobody should take you away from her. You see? But you have to follow what she's pointing to and be empty yourself. You see? So then people say, our Guruji is really helping her. Why would you want her to be away from her? You see? You know? But if you go to satsang and then you continue to follow the mind's proposals and stories and things like that, obviously people around you will say, what is the point of this? Why is she going? She's just becoming worse. You know? So the battleground is more internal than external. It always is. You see? Because what happens is that if you are truly empty, then somebody tells you something, from your expression only, it will be clear to them that what they're saying is not true about you. You see? What the sense I'm getting is that when they're saying, you also not fully like clear that in your heart that really fully you're in this, and you're not trying to come to any sort of mental conclusions or so just apply to yourself everything that you're hearing in satsang, and get out of any sort of story. You see, naturally then people will start coming to you to learn meditation instead of offering you medication. Sorry, bad joke.
Thank you.
Are you fully able to meet what I'm saying? Or do you feel like it's not really clear what living in the heart means? Like, is it like a fresh position that we may build up in our head itself?
So, frankly speaking, when you speak about God, so I don't know what God is. And heart, I don't understand the term heart fully, but there's this presence.
Yeah.
There's this space in which I can see the thoughts and everything, all the perceptions and all the coming and going.
Which way do you find the presence? in the sense that
Mm.
like I can find my hand is there. Hand is there. So I find it like this. How do you find the presence?
There is this sense.
Sense. What is its color, shape, size?
So there's no color, shape, and size. It's beyond that.
Now, what can take you away from it? What can make it seem like the presence is not there?
When I believe thoughts.
Is there any other way to do it? But doesn't belief just happen?
हमेशा नहीं होता है belief.
Yeah. Then
So,
sometimes it just happens and sometimes you can.
hmm,
What are those times? And who decides that?
I only decide.
So I want to propose to you, and you can experiment with this, that nobody can force belief out of consciousness unless consciousness wants to give belief to a concept. And you are consciousness itself. So no thought is powerful enough to hold consciousness hostage. So nothing can force you out of your openness, out of your emptiness, unless you as consciousness want to play that game, want to step out of it. Contemplate with this.
Hmm. Thank you.
Very good, very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. All right. Next.
Antaji?
Yes, Malaya.
Yeah, thank you. I want to bring some doubt because sometimes when you speak, like saying, is this life only for God, or is it feels, or is it okay to seek for happiness, like really to long for real happiness, or even for bliss? Because I remember even Ramana Maharshi said it's okay to seek happiness. Like it's not because it shouldn't be for me, for the ego. I cannot be happy as ego, but like to vanish in God is also the greatest bliss.
Yeah. So can you seek without the ego?
Can I seek without the ego? In a way, it's the ego. It's some individuality or some spiritual person seeking. Yes.
It's a simpler question. So we may say beautiful what Maya said, and full reverence to her, of course. That, and similar to what Papaji said, that when we are empty, we are naturally happy, which is the same as saying, to be happy, we need nothing, but we need at least one thing to be unhappy. So the thing with this is that when we hold on to even one thing, you see, although very temporarily it may seem like some desire is getting fulfilled and we are happy, but that is bound to come with some unhappiness. So fully agree that the ego cannot really be happy. But if happiness is found in the absence of me, isn't the seeking a reinforcement of the me?
Somehow
Okay,
it
so
feels
let's,
seeking.
I know it's a
Yeah.
confusing question, so let me help you a little more. So how would you seek happiness? What is the process of doing it? So suppose I say it's all fine, you can seek happiness, very good. How will you go about doing it?
Well, I would like look inside, like I would say now, like look inside or look for the source of myself.
How to look? Through what instrument should we look for ourselves?
Yeah, okay, it's you can also say
Sorry, I'm
just
not, you're seeming a bit like you're being interrogated or something. Just relax, don't worry. Looking together. Okay, just relax. We're just talking. So we are saying, okay, let's together, we are going to look for happiness. We are going to seek happiness. Now, we are just exploring, okay, if we were to do it, how would we do it? You said, beautiful, that happiness can only come from the self, from the true self. So I must find my true self. Now, what is the mechanism or the instrument or the tool by which this exploration can be done?
Not sure what you.
This one.
Yeah, well, maybe the attention.
Yes, I'm back. Okay. So, yes, you were saying?
It's with the attention, or even coming to satsang is also like.
Yeah, so let's start from now. Here you're in satsang. Now let us seek happiness. How to do it? Is it believing the thought? Oh, I want happiness, I want happiness, I want happiness, more happiness, even more happiness, constant happiness. That cannot be the process of seeking happiness, correct? You see?
No, it's more being empty and
yes.
say being open and empty.
Yes. Now, can you be empty and seek at the same time?
Okay, then yes, a little bit difficult question I feel, because what means to seek? Then,
yeah. So let me just say that maybe one helpful thing I can say to you is that, okay, to seek happiness is fine. The way to seek happiness, you're right, is to be empty. So it is your seeking for your happiness which has got you to this emptiness. Now stay empty.
Okay.
That's fine. Because there can be no further instruction after seeking, after staying empty, isn't it?
Yeah, is it like in the invitation, Guruji says, even leave aside the desire for enlightenment.
Yeah.
Because it brought you there already, and you don't need it anymore. Is it like this?
Yes, yes, yes. If you want to definitely conclude that you're on the right track, so I'm giving you that reassurance that, okay, you followed all the best advice, you were seeking only happiness, which was fair enough to do, and you realize now that the only way to be happy is to be empty. So now you're at this point. Now don't rewind and say, okay, now is this the right path, wrong path? Am I on the right track? Because you're here and you're empty. But
Clear.
clear?
Yes.
I'm sensing a bit of a but.
Yeah. Maybe I was just about to pick up some thought again, but just like
Yes, so stay like that. To go very good. You noticed and you just let it go. Notice and let it go. It's very good. Very good.
thank you.
Did you paint the painting behind you yourself or?
No, it was my father, my
Ah,
physical, biological father.
ah. He made this painting so beautiful. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your father visited her in Haridwar or?
Actually, he saw her once in her physical body in but not like it was a long time ago, of course. But yeah.
Very good, very good, very good. Bless you, bless you. Okay, let's go to the one that is allowed everyone to come before him. Please come. Yes, my dear, that's very good. Did you just wait for everyone to finish? Let them go first, or were you trying and didn't?
No, like they were all asking my questions only. So all those questions are not necessary. So I cannot ask any better question than that.
Very good, very good. I love that. Love that. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good.
I just want to have your attention for a few minutes.
Yeah. Good, my dear. Where do you stay?
I stay in
Delhi?
yeah.
Come, you should come to Bangalore sometime, I feel. Whenever life makes some space, I'd be very happy if you came. Oh, my love. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.